Hello, friends, and welcome to another L.O.S. Kids Discovery Guide. Today, we're going to be exploring one of my favorite pieces of music, Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. This music tells the story of a boy named Peter and his adventures with many different animals from the forest. Each character of this story is represented by an instrument from the orchestra. To get ready for this concert, let's listen to some of the different instruments and music that are going to be featured during the Peter and the Wolf performances. The first character that we're going to get to meet is the bird. The bird is played by the flute. Many composers use the flute to represent birds because it can play very high and it can also play very fast with lots of ornaments. Similar to how we hear birds singing outside. During our story, Peter wanders away from his grandfather's house and past the gate. Here he finds a tall tree to rest against, which is where he meets our first character, the bird. He hears the bird singing from the top of the tree, and it sounds like this. The next character that we get to meet is the duck. Does anybody have any guesses for which instrument our composer uses to represent the duck? That's right, the oboe. The oboe is something that we call a double reed instrument. This means that in order to play this instrument, we have to use something called a reed. To make the reeds for the oboe, you need two very small, thin pieces of wood that will vibrate against each other when you play your instrument. Because of this double reed, the oboe is able to make sudden and low sounds that can sometimes sound like a duck, but they're also able to play beautiful flowing melodies. Prokofiev uses both of these techniques to create the music that represents the duck. Early into our story, the bird and the duck get into an argument over if birds should be able to fly or to swim. While they bicker and become more distracted with each other, a new character, the cat, sneaks up in the background. Luckily for our friends, Peter yells out a warning to the birds before the cat is able to get to them. To show how sneaky the cat was being, our composer has the clarinet play this music. Did you notice how the clarinet played very quiet and low to sound like a cat hiding and sneaking up on the birds? Prokofiev also wrote this music to be staccato. Staccato means that the notes are short and separated from each other. This is the opposite of the connected and smooth notes we heard in the duck's oboe melody. Let's hear the cat's melody one more time, and this time we'll all listen extra carefully for how low, quiet, and staccato the musician is being. The final animal that we get to meet is a very scary one. Does anybody have any guesses for who this character is going to be? That's right, the wolf. The wolf in this character is represented by 3 French horn players to show the audience just how frightening that they are. The French horn is a member of the brass family. These instruments are all made out of brass, and you create sound from them by buzzing your lips together against the mouthpiece.
Hi, I'm Noah. This is how I buzz. And this is how I buzz with my mouthpiece.
Brass instruments are able to be played very loudly. Because of this, composers often use them to create a large and powerful sound, or in this case, a very frightening one. Let's listen to the wolf's melody now. The animals are all very scared of the wolf, and even Peter's grandfather warns him to stay inside where it's safe. Lucky for our story, Peter is a very brave character, and he cares more about protecting his new friends than he is frightened of scary things outside of the fence. I'm so excited to see this amazing production with you soon. Let's go back over the different characters and instruments that we learned about today. The bird, the duck, the cat, and the wolf. I had so much fun learning about and listening to music with all of you. I can't wait till we get to see Peter and the wolf together soon.
I'm Eric Wright from the Puppet Kitchen, which is a New York City-based puppetry studio. We design, build, perform, direct, and teach puppetry all over the world. I started getting into puppetry when I was pretty young. First, I wanted to be an inventor, then I wanted to be a scientist, then I got into orchestral music, actually. I played the oboe in the orchestra. Then I got into the theater, and as I grew older, I never wanted to just decide on one thing to do. And of course, I was always sketching in my sketchbooks and always making things and tinkering around. And I was just enchanted with puppetry and puppets, especially puppets that you might see on screen, like in movie special effects or something like that. And I decided to pursue puppetry as a way to combine everything that I love to do all in one go. So I really like to make puppets out of just everyday objects that you can find and things that I have lying around. For this one, for Peter and the Wolf, we made all of our puppets just out of coffee stir sticks and sketches from my sketchbook that I printed out after they were all colored in. So that you can see them while sitting out in the audience, we decided to put them in front of a camera and project them onto a big screen. So unlike other cameras, we pointed ours straight down at a table so that we can put all of our puppets underneath the camera here, and you can see everything happening up on the projector. Now we have a bunch of different backgrounds that we've printed out also. These are photos that I took of Central Park, and we just printed them out on regular sheets of paper, but under the camera and with puppets in front of it, it becomes a story. Well, first we have the bird, and in New York City, of course, it's got to be a pigeon. And then we have a duck. You can definitely find ducks swimming around the pond in Central Park. And then we have a cat. Now, in New York City, of course, you always see a cat in a bodega. So our cat is a bodega cat. Now, if you're wondering how you can make a puppet show like this at home, it's really, really easy. You can just color on some paper and cut it out, have a parent help you cut it out, and glue it to a coffee stir stick or just another piece of paper. And then you can make your puppets bigger or smaller, and you don't have to have a fancy camera rig like this, but a lot of times you can find a camera on people's phones, on your parents' phones or on your iPad. See what it's like to take your creations and put them on screen and perform stories to the music you love the most, just like we're doing here for Peter and the Wolf.
Hi everyone! Welcome back to Storytime with me, Jordan. Today we have a really wonderful book to read called The Bear and the Piano by David Litchfield. This is a book about a bear who loves to play the piano and has some great friends and family around him as well. So let's get to it. One day in the forest, a young bear cub found something he'd never seen before. "What could this strange thing be?" he thought. Shyly, he touched it with his stubby paws. Plonk! The strange thing made an awful sound. So the bear left, but the next day he came back. And the day after that, too. And for days and weeks and months and years, until, eventually, the sounds that came from that strange thing were beautiful, and the bear had grown big and strong and grisly. When the bear played, he felt so happy. The sound took him away from the forest, and he dreamed of strange and wonderful lands. What are some activities or music that you like that makes you feel really happy, just like the bear? It wasn't long before the other bears in the forest were drawn to the clearing. Every night, a crowd gathered to listen to the magical melodies coming from the bear and the strange thing. Then, one night, a girl and her father came across the clearing. They told the bear that the strange thing was a piano, and the sounds it made were music. "Come to the city with us," they said. "There is lots of music there. You can play grand pianos in front of hundreds of people and hear sounds so beautiful they will make your fur stand on end." The bear knew that if he left the forest, the other bears would miss him very much. But he longed to explore the world beyond the woods, to hear more wonderful music and play better than ever before. And before long, the bear's name was up in big, bright lights in the big, bright city. It's New York City! He played sold-out concerts in giant theaters. Every night he performed with such passion and such grace to wild applause and standing ovations and huge admiration. The bear recorded albums that went platinum. He was interviewed for magazines. He won awards. He met new people every day and created headlines everywhere he went. The city was everything he hoped it would be. But deep down, something tugged at the bear's heart. He had fame and awards and all the music in the world, but he missed the forest. He missed his old friends. He missed his home. So the bear decided to go back. He speedily crossed the river and excitedly bounded into the forest. He couldn't wait to tell his friends about his time in the city. But when the bear reached the familiar clearing, it was empty. No piano, no bears, no anything. The bear started to worry that his friends had forgotten him, or that they were angry that he had left them behind. Then a friend stepped into the clearing. "Hello!" cried the bear. "I'm back! I've missed you so much!" Without saying a word, the gray bear ran back into the forest. "Wait!" called the bear. "I'm sorry I left. Please stop!" But his friend just kept running. The bear stumbled after him, moving deeper and deeper into the forest, until he saw something that made his fur stand on end. Aw, look at this! For the bear had not been forgotten. His friends weren't angry, but proud. The bear realized that no matter where he went or what he did, they would always be there, watching from afar. They had even kept the piano safe in the shade, ready for his return. Look at how proud the other bears are of him. They hung up magazines and records and shirts all over his beautiful piano. So, after the bear had told his friends about his life in the city and the many concerts he had played, he sat down to play once more, this time for the most important audience of all. The end. Oh, I really loved that story, friends. I loved that the bear went to the city and got to play music and also knew that he wanted to spend time with his friends and family back home. I had such a wonderful time reading this together. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, bye!